Mm. Good afternoon. It's 12 noon. It's Monday, the 12th of April, and I'm Karen Curtin, social media coach, joined today by Laura from Parry Creative. Good afternoon, Laura.
Hi, lovely to see you. I'm back again, back for a second time. Thank you very much.
You behaved so beautifully last time that we said, let's just do it all again. But we're doing it all again for a slightly different reason, because when we had our LinkedIn Live, we were talking about the importance of your brand.
That's right, yes.
And how essential it is that you understand what your brand represents. It's not just a logo. And I think that's a really important thing that a lot of people forget, don't they?
Exactly that. So yeah, sort of thinking about, well, a couple of key things, the values that you stand for, your personality. If you're a smaller business, often it's a little bit more to do with your personality and finding the right balance with that against your audience that you're trying to appeal to, and just making sure that your brand represents you and that you're fully behind it. Because I feel that if you've got a brand that you are fully behind and absolutely in love with, then it can help you just believe in it a little bit more and be quite successful. Hopefully that's the idea.
And that's fantastic. We've got some people joining us already this afternoon. It's great to have people with us, which is great. And so after we had this chat, it sort of cemented what I'd been thinking, because my lovely branding, which we can see in the top right-hand corner, because I've deliberately not changed it yet, was done for me 6 years ago. And I've been starting to think about my business, where I want the business to go, and the focus and the direction. Because as you quite rightly say, a business will grow and evolve. And one of the genuine pleasures that I get from running my own business is that I can change it organically. It's grown organically around the needs of my wonderful clients, some of whom are joining us today, which is fantastic. And I think that was the really deciding factor for me, is that I would say in the last 3 years particularly, I've been working with a completely different demographic of people. I've discovered a true niche about people that want that helping hand, that supportive nurturing to build how they feel and their confidence about social media. And that was something that we then spoke about, wasn't it?
Exactly that. So I mean, all businesses, as you say, they're all businesses are organic, and things change, audiences change, your services change, and so it's helpful if your brand can keep up with that a little bit. And I think that's what we've done today. Just had a little look at actually where are you sitting right now, Karen? Who are you talking to? And what are your visions and thoughts for the future? And how can we make sure that the brand is really helping you get that message across on all fronts? So yeah, exactly that. Things change, and unfortunately there's always a bit of a shelf life. We can't ever design things that are going to last forever, because just everything influences the world of design. Fashion and trends and all sorts influences what is on trend now and for the foreseeable. So yeah, needs to be adapted.
And I think that was the thing that came out of me. So we spent a bit of time talking through this. And afternoon, Margaret. Margaret's joined us. Margaret, of the most incredible shortbread you've ever tasted in your life. She's a phenomenal trainer, but she is a fully trained chef, and she makes the most beautiful shortbread. So I went totally off topic and got
excellent. Always got time to talk about some biscuit varieties.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we started talking about this, you then went away and you came back and you said to me, right, Karen, I've done 3 options for you.
Yes. Yeah.
So tell everybody that's watching why you came up with 3 different options.
Well, I think like everything, so it starts with the consultation, which is what we've kind of touched upon. Really, it's getting to know you and getting to know the business, getting to know the vision. And it's from those conversations that I'm able to sort of form in my mind a good idea of creative direction. But with creative work, it is very subjective. And so I think it's good to provide clients with a little bit of option that you know, all of the concepts that I presented back could work for you, but I think there's always different personality. You know, your personality will lean towards one rather than the other, and you may prefer one idea to the other. So last time we talked about simplicity of logos and being able to present just one kind of idea. So it could be one idea about what you do, or it could be an idea of your value or what you bring to the table, just kind of one train of thought. And when I presented the logos back to you, Karen, each one had something a little bit about the service, or maybe more about the value. One was a bit more about the personality. And so it's kind of going down a few different trains of thoughts for you to give some option. And quite often with clients, when I've got those options, we can also combine them. So it may be that the font choice of one goes well with the colours of the other, just giving an overall sense of direction, really, that can work for you.
And the really funny thing was, for everybody who's watching, was Laura said to me, right, there's one that's not too big a leap from where you're at now. There's one that's midway, and then there's one that's sort of, I called it a bit of a Vegas because it's so different. So I think the time is perfect to say that I went with the Vegas one, which I called it Vegas because it's a bit of a gamble, because it's very different. So let's just share the screen. So sorry,
we need a drum roll.
Definitely. So let's just open this up, and there we go. This is my new branding. So, Laura, do you want to talk everybody through why you came up with, what was your theory behind this whole new look for Curitin Consulting?
Absolutely. So it's kind of made up of 3 different components. You've got the actual logo icon and shape of the icon there, with the C's going around in a circle. You've got the color choices and the typography. And those 3 elements are making up the overall brand look and feel. So starting with the icon at the top, which is actually derived from the C from Curitin. I don't know if you can see the C is actually then rotated. And
I absolutely love.
And it's going around and fanning in this shape, which we may think, okay, that's nice and it's aesthetically pleasing. But actually there's some meaning behind it, which is even ticking even more boxes. So I did some research after Karen had spoken to me a lot about building confidence with her clients, and it seemed to be a really key word that was coming through from our conversations. And I did some research on imagery around the word confidence, and something caught my eye, which was an ancient African symbol for confidence, which is very sort of similar to this. And I suddenly saw in this shape that actually a C could work. So it's kind of like, oh, it's that shape, and we could get a C to work in there to represent it. So kind of like, I've really got to explore this. So that's really how it happened. So I looked at this symbol, looked at the C, and kind of created that unique shape for Karen. And then secondly, we then looked at the colours. So Karen had a blue, but I wanted to try and just tweak this blue a little bit further. So it's bringing stability, it's bringing confidence, slight maturity about it. So it's a slightly deeper blue with almost a little bit more tinge towards the purple. But the reason for that is because it bounced perfectly off that coral. So the coral has been added here for a bit of balance and a little bit of splash of femininity, because Karen mentioned to me when we were talking that quite a lot of your clients are female, and you're working in that sector. So it represented you, Karen, of one of your sort of favourite colours, if you like, but also help resonate and appeal to your audience, hopefully. So that's the thinking there. And then lastly, it's really down to the font choice and the positioning and the scale of the font and the words. So this is a font that I wanted to pick because it's open, it's friendly, approachable, it's very non-threatening. And I thought that went very well with the whole building confidence in something that people perhaps aren't used to using in their lives. So you don't want to come across almost too threatening. So it's kind of, here, I'm open, let's have a conversation about it. So to reflect that side of your service and the way that you handle your clients and customers. So yeah, that was a sort of whirlwind, but yes.
And I think it does that, and we're having some lovely feedback already. So thank you, Margaret and Ali, for your lovely words. And if we just, if I just scroll down, then we can see the other incarnations of it. which is what I love about it. Oh, thank you, Michael. What I love about it is that fact that we can reverse engineer the way the colors work, so it works in different formats, digitally, print, and I think this was one of the things that I think I particularly liked about the fact that we've got that strength of the blue, which is, as we know, a big social media color, but then we've also got that white background with it overlaid onto it, and it's so different, isn't it, Laura?
Yeah, absolutely. And also very scalable as well. So, you know, working quite small, I've noticed that you've changed your Favicon, little tiny icon on your website, but it's still holding true, you know, it's still working well, and it's very scalable. But this is what we call the sort of branding toolkit. And it's allowing your logo now to be quite flexible for you. So you've got elements here to use in different settings. So you've got the kind of key square version, but then you've also got a landscape version and just the icon by itself. So what it means is that we don't have to be so static about it and think, oh, I've always got to have my logo in this format on this color. It's actually just almost like letting your branding breathe a little bit across the different materials that you'll be using. So you've got different choices. It's not always so fixed, which gives a little bit of variation and flair.
Yeah, it does. And we've got a lovely bit of feedback from Laura, one of our fellow Derby's Finest ladies, and it is an amazing job. I am absolutely thrilled with the job that Laura Parry's done for me. And I think the reasoning behind it, and 100%, I'm over the moon. And the whole process, you know, it's a big deal, rebranding. And I started thinking this morning of all of the things that my branding is on. And all the changes that we've been talking about and having that. And I think after the year that we've just had, this feels, you know, I'm very much driven by emotion. And yes, absolutely, Ali, that's exactly what I think a great brand should do, is have that flexibility and that ease of use in different platforms, which I'm sure Laura would endorse. Really, isn't that a good brand in that it has that flexibility?
Absolutely. And just really, it's kind of like the portability of it. So how can you break your logo down into elements that you can then use? So is it workable on different colors? Is it workable at small? Is it workable as an icon, just as the words? That portability and flexibility for sure. Yeah, but this is kind of a rebirth for you then, Karen. You were saying sort of just a new era almost.
It is. And I think, you know, as I was starting saying, I've seen lovely comments from everybody about the reasoning behind it. And that was the thing that touched me, is that as a woman in business, I was almost going to get a bit emotional there. As a woman in business, I'm not frightened to tune into how I feel, but I think after what happened in the last year, I feel more grateful than ever that I've got so many wonderful clients still working with me. And I think this is a perfect time to have that rebirth, that relaunch of the business, to say, hey, this is me. This is what I do. And this is what my brand stands for. And this is who I am. And I think I'm going to stop sharing now, because I think everybody will be sick to death of seeing it. And now they can see us again. And I would highly recommend Laura's services, of course, because I'm sitting here with her.
But thanks, Karen.
I think it's so important to look at all of those different, like you said, the layers of what your brand ethos is and what you want people to take from connecting with you and being who you are.
Yes, exactly that. So it's more about a feel. It's more about what do you leave? What's the experience you leave with your customers? You know, after you've had the meeting and left, what are they thinking and feeling about you? And the visuals is just one side of that, but it can really help. So, you know, we've looked at the logo, but then that extends to your words, to your brand voice, to your photography, and your general customer experience, and the way you handle your customers is the overall experience of your brand. So it sort of encapsulates everything, but it really starts, the heart is really the logo and the identity, because it's your face. It's literally, or the front door of your house, you know, it's the logo the front door, and the house is the rest of the brand that sits within it. So,
and you know, Ali's just said, and this is a perfect point, Ali, is what perfect timing as we move into non-essential services now opening up today is that we have timed this perfectly for today. And I just want to say thank you. I think you've done an incredible job. Thank you to everybody that's joined us live today for our live launch. I need to go and change my LinkedIn header now.
Excellent.
And, have a great day, Laura, and I'll see you soon.
Pleasure working with you, Karen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.